August is still Women's Month in South Africa, and we continue to feature women that are making strides in various areas of endeavour. Today we meet a young woman from a small township just outside Middelburg in Mpumalanga who dreamed about being a scientist from a very young age. She's worked hard to pursue this dream, and she's now an environmental scientist, and at one time went on a research project on Marion Island in Antarctica. Let's meet Dineo Mogashoa. Dineo, thanks very much indeed for joining us, and welcome to the program.
Hi, Peter. How are you?
Great, thanks. Lovely to have you on the program. How young were you when you realized that science was the life that you wanted for yourself?
I was in high school, so I would say around 14, 15.
Yeah. All right, so tell us about that time and that journey, because not a lot of women, especially young women, were studying sciences and wanting to pursue science. How difficult was it? Because I know that even getting into university was also a challenge for you.
Yeah, it was quite a challenge. I knew that I had to work very hard in order to get into varsity, because I had to get sponsorship, because I knew that my family could not afford to pay for my studies if I decided to go to university. And fortunately enough for me, I grew up in a mining area, so we get a lot of opportunities from mines to sponsor us to go into varsity. So luckily I was able to receive a bursary from Anglo-American, a scholarship actually, which helped fund for my studies, and that is how I managed to complete my 2 degrees.
All right, so after these 2 degrees, and you were then selected to spend some time on the South African National Antarctic Program, doing some research on Marion Island. That's quite prestigious. Tell us about that journey, how you got there, and what you did there.
So I just wanted to firstly correct you. I was not in Antarctica. I was in Marion Island.
Oh, okay.
And Marion Island is in the sub-Antarctic, which is between, it's in the middle of Antarctica and South Africa. So it's quite close, but not there. And I was there working as a field research assistant, and under the Department of Environmental Affairs and Science and Technology. Our research is funded by the National Research Foundation, NRF, and I was working on a wind project which was looking at the ecological impacts that wind have on the island, and we were collecting data to model the wind patterns as well as the wind speeds.
So what did this research tell you at the end of the day?
The data is still being looked at, and there's another team on the island that is continuing to collect the data. So we haven't produced a final product or final results yet. We're still looking at the data set. The project will be ongoing for approximately 3 years. So yeah, it's still in the books. We are still working on it. Although myself at the moment I'm working on something else.
All right, we'll talk about what you're working on just now. I just wonder, again, this thing about women in the sciences. When you were on the island, were there a lot of women there as well? Is this something we're starting to see more and more of?
Yes, our team was actually very diverse, and half of the group, we were a group of 24, so half of the group were women. So it was a very diverse team, and we got to work with different people, and yeah, it was very diverse.
Yeah. And what's Marion Island like? I mean, it's remote, it's far away, and sometimes very cold.
Yes, it can get very cold. I remember some of the highest temperatures that we had were around 15 degrees. So it was quite cold. It got snowy. So it was very cold, but it was a very challenging experience, but fun as well. We got to learn a lot. And I must say that even though Marion is in such an isolated and remote environment, you get to learn or study a system that is not highly impacted by humans, which is what the benefit of working in such an isolated system is.
All right, so post Marion Island, you've got 2 degrees. What is a young woman in science now doing?
Right now, I am working as a junior environmental assistant. I'm working for an environmental consulting company, and we help with conducting environmental impact assessments for mines and construction around the Middelburg area.
All right, so you've mentioned mining and the environment, and we're busy looking at things like climate change and so on and so forth. Your area, Mpumalanga in particular, I believe a city, town, Creole, is one of the most polluted in the world. What have you seen as an environmental scientist about what's happening to our environment caused by mining?
It was recently put out there that Mpumalanga, or rather Witbank area, has the most polluted air in the world, not just South Africa, in the world. So it has quite a big impact on our environment, and because of that, it's very important for environmental scientists to be working in areas like this to try and combat these challenges that we have, because we really do have only one planet, and if we don't take care of it, we stand to lose a lot. We benefit so much from our environment. The ecosystems around us are the ones that feed us. Our economy is fed by the environment, so it's very important that we take care of it and we make sure that it is sustainable for future generations to be able to receive the resources that we get from the environment. So from an environmental standpoint, areas like this that are highly endangered or highly vulnerable to such changes need to be monitored at a constant basis, and we make sure that we practice sustainable development.
All right, perhaps as a final word, to young girls who perhaps are in high school now, who are watching you and are thinking science is too hard to do, what would you say to them, particularly given how important environmental science is? What's your word to them now watching?
I'd just like to encourage young scientists out there that this is a very important field. This is a crucial field. The future of South Africa is in science. So if you're in school and you are discouraged about your physics exams, be patient, work harder. It is very important. These are the skills that we need as a country to move forward. So yeah, just be consistent and keep going, and hopefully we will raise more young scientists in South Africa.
All right, so Dineo, thanks so much indeed for joining us. You're still at the start of your career, leading the way, but we'll be watching your career with great interest, and good luck with the rest of it.
Thank you so much, Pete.
All right, so that's Dineo Mogashoa, who's an environmental scientist who's already done quite a lot in her short time in her career, but still lots more to come. And as you heard, the future of our country partly is in the hands of science, so we need to get more and more people involved, especially young women. Stay with us, we'll have sports for you right after this with Eben.